Hi folks, I'm Jessica and I'm 27. Alright, so let me tell you about the roller coaster that was my life a few years back. My name's Jessica and I was happily married to Jonathan. We had a great relationship and I truly believed he cared for me deeply. Our families were close-knit and I had integrated him so well into my family, especially since Jonathan didn't have his own parents around. They died when he was young. But one day my world came crashing down when I discovered he was cheating on me. The pain and anger I felt was indescribable. I had given him everything, and this is how he repaid me? At first, I felt bad for him, thinking maybe it was his unresolved trauma from losing his parents that led him astray, but that didn't excuse his actions. I was devastated and I wanted revenge for the pain he put me through. So I decided to hit him where it hurt the most, his wallet. Yep. I went on a spending spree using his money and I don't regret it one bit. Call me petty, but after a 2-year affair with a co-worker, he deserved a taste of his own medicine. I started buying all sorts of lavish things. I got myself designer bags and fancy jewelry, and even treated myself to a luxury spa retreat on multiple occasions. And oh boy, you should have seen his face when he saw the credit card bills. It was priceless. I remember the time I came home with a stunning diamond necklace. His eyes almost popped out of his head when he saw it, but instead of confronting me, he stayed quiet. He knew he had messed up big time, and maybe he thought this was my way of coping. Jessica, is that a new necklace? It's beautiful. Oh, this, yeah, I got it recently. How much did it cost? Oh, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. No, really, tell me. I hope it didn't cost a fortune. I've noticed that you've been spending a lot lately. Well, it was a bit pricey, but I had to treat myself, you know. Yeah, sure, but, we should be careful with our spending. Oh, now you're concerned about spending? Well, I'm concerned with potentially contracting STDs from my cheating husband. Look, I know I messed up, but does that mean we have to waste money? Waste money? Oh, like how you wasted 2 years of our marriage with your affair? Jess, I've said I'm sorry 1,000 times. Can't we move past this? Move past this? How do you expect me to forget what you did? Buying a diamond necklace is the least of your worries. Consider it retribution. I'm trying to make it up to you, but you keep rubbing salt in the wound. I know I hurt you, and I'm trying to fix things, but you're just spending recklessly. Oh, now you're worried about finances. You had no problem spending our money on your affair. Taking her to Cuba, Tijuana, and Fiji, all the places I wanted to go. Okay, I get it. I screwed up big time, but this isn't the way to deal with it. So you're the expert on how to deal with infidelity now? No, I didn't mean it like that. You just what, huh? Yeah, that's what I thought. The truth was, I was angry and hurt. I wanted him to feel some of the pain I felt when I found out about his affair. So I kept spending, and he kept staying silent after I put him in his place. I also used his money to plan a getaway with my closest friends. We went on a luxurious vacation to a tropical paradise, staying in an extravagant villa with a private pool. It was my way of showing him that I could have an amazing time without him and his lies. Every time I swiped his credit card, I felt a little rush of satisfaction. It was as if each purchase was a small victory for me. I know it might not have been the healthiest way to deal with my emotions, but it was my way of coping. As the days went by, Jonathan started to realize that I wasn't going to back down. He saw that I was serious about making him feel the pain he had caused me. It was a bitter pill for him to swallow. But amidst all the revenge spending, deep down, I still loved him. Despite the betrayal, I couldn't help but feel for the man I once thought was my rock. I wanted him to realize the consequences of his actions and change for the better. So one day, Jonathan had up and left. He was gone for like a week, and I was obviously confused and shocked at this. He kept declining my calls, and I had no idea where he had gone. I wasn't stupid for thinking he was cheating again, and at this point, I was ready to burn all of his clothes. Then something surprising happened. My mom texted me and told me that Jonathan had been staying with them for the time being. She then called me wanting to have a serious talk. She started by saying that she had a heart-to-heart with Jonathan. Apparently he cried to her about my spending habits and how he didn't know what to do about it. I couldn't help but roll my eyes at the thought of him complaining to my mom. I asked my mom if Jonathan had mentioned why I was spending so much, but she seemed a bit hesitant. She said, "Well, he didn't really go into detail, just that you've been spending a lot lately." As I tried to explain to my mom that there was a good reason for my spending, she didn't want to hear it. My dad eventually joined in on the conversation, and instead of understanding my side, they both started berating me for my irresponsible behavior. It felt like a double whammy. Not only did Jonathan cheat on me, but now my parents were yelling at me too. "Mom, Dad, I understand that you're upset about the way I've been spending money, but there's a reason behind it that I need to explain. Honestly, Jessica, there's no excuse for your reckless behavior. We raised you better than this." "How could you be so disrespectful?" "If only you knew the truth." "We're your parents, Jessica. We're here to support you through anything. This isn't like you, baby. What's going on?" I took a deep breath, bracing myself for how they'd react to me telling them everything. I didn't feel obligated to keep Jonathan's secret any longer, since he liked misleading people with half-baked truths. "Mom, Dad, there's something I need to talk to you both about." "Talk to us, sweetie." "Well, you see, I found out something about Jonathan recently, and it's been really difficult for me to process." "What is it, Jessica? You can tell us anything." "Jonathan has been cheating on me for the past 2 years." "Oh, my goodness, I had no idea. That's terrible, honey. I'm so sorry you had to go through this." "Yeah, it's been really tough. I've felt so betrayed." "That bastard! How could he do this to you?" "I don't know, Dad, but I've been feeling so hurt and angry that I started spending his money as a way to get back at him." "Oh, Jessica." "I know, Mom, and I'm sorry. It's just I didn't want to tarnish Jonathan's image in front of you both. I thought I could handle it on my own." "We understand that you were trying to protect him, but you don't need to bear this burden alone. We're here for you." "Thanks, Dad. I just don't know if I can trust him again." When I shared my findings with my parents, my mom was furious. She couldn't believe that Jonathan had kept this information from them, and she felt betrayed too. She said she was ready to kick him out of the house immediately. My dad was also upset, but he urged us to take a step back and think things through calmly. He knew that emotions were running high, but he wanted us to handle the situation with a clear head. My mom, although angry, agreed to listen to my dad's advice and hold off on any immediate actions. She knew that pushing Jonathan out without a proper plan could lead to more complications. So we all decided to give me some time to process everything and make a decision that was right for me. So after my parents and I had our heart-to-heart conversation, I decided to put on my detective hat and dig deeper into Jonathan's actions. Since he wasn't home, I had free rein to snoop around without him suspecting a thing. I started going through his things, looking for any signs of infidelity. I checked receipts and his laundry for any lingering perfume or lipstick stains, and unfortunately, my suspicions were confirmed. I found evidence of him cheating, and it broke my heart all over again. Not stopping there, I went through his email since he had left himself logged into the home computer, and guess what? I discovered even more incriminating evidence. He was planning more extravagant trips with his mistress. I was outraged and devastated, but I knew I had to share my findings with my parents. When I told them what I had uncovered, they were furious too. They couldn't believe that we were harboring a liar and a serial cheater in our own home. My parents asked me what I wanted to do next. They made it clear that they would support me no matter what decision I made. It was comforting to know that they were on my side, ready to help me navigate this difficult situation. As I thought about it, I knew that I couldn't stay in a marriage built on betrayal and lies. I deserved better. And I didn't want to waste any more time with someone who didn't truly love and respect me. I leaned on my parents during this challenging time, and their love and encouragement helped me heal and find my strength. It wasn't easy, but I knew that with their support I could move forward and rebuild my life, and that's exactly what I did. During those days, my parents were a constant source of support and comfort. They reminded me that I was strong and capable, and they assured me that whatever decision I made, they would stand by me. It was tough navigating this difficult time, but with my parents by my side, I felt more confident in handling the situation. I knew that I deserved better than a partner who betrayed my trust, and I was determined to find my path forward, even if it meant walking away from a marriage that had once brought me happiness. The plan was set in motion. My parents wanted to see if Jonathan would finally come clean about his affairs, if he believed they were going to disown me and take him in as their new son. So they sweet-talked him, pretending to be disgusted with my spending habits and acting like they were going to kick me out of their lives. Of course, like the lying dirtbag he is, he didn't come clean about anything, even if my relationship with my own parents was on the line, so they set the plan in motion. I'm so grateful for my parents because they were really willing to go all in for me. When my mom sent me that text saying, "Let's do it," I knew we were going to teach Jonathan a lesson he'd never forget. They convinced Jonathan to sign over the house to them, making it seem like they were one big happy family. Little did he know that it was all part of the revenge plot to make him realize the consequences of his actions. I was on pins and needles as the plan unfolded, but I knew that my parents had my back and I trusted them completely. They were willing to go to great lengths to help me get the closure I needed. I got the confirmation text from my dad later on in the evening, and I knew we scored big time. We've transferred his house to our name. The plan is a go. I literally jumped up for joy when I saw the text. It was crazy to think that this lavish house was no longer his, but now it belonged to my parents. And it technically also belonged to me. After Jonathan signed the papers, my parents had ownership of the house. It was a powerful move, and I hoped it would make him think twice about the choices he had made. But that wasn't the end of it, folks. You see, my parents were determined to make him understand the gravity of his betrayal. They invited Jonathan to a family dinner, but what he didn't know was that I would be there too, ready to confront him once and for all. And as we sat at the restaurant, my heart was pounding with anticipation. Jonathan arrived looking confused and demanding an explanation. I took a deep breath and decided it was time to reveal the truth. "Surprise, Jonathan. This was all part of the plan. We wanted you to see what it feels like to be deceived and betrayed. Doesn't feel too nice, does it?" He looked embarrassed and shocked, not expecting this turn of events. My mom spoke up, her voice firm but compassionate. "Did you really think we would betray our own daughter? We love her so much, and we're always going to be on her side." Jonathan tried to make excuses, but it was clear that he was caught off guard. He begged for his house back, but my parents stood their ground. "No, Jonathan, the house is ours now. You signed it over, and you have to face the consequences of your actions." I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction as I watched him spiral, regretting the decisions he had made. He was reaping what he had sown. To add the final blow, I slid some divorce papers across the table towards him. Consider this your freedom. You can go on those expensive vacations with your mistress in peace, and I never want to see you again. His face turned pale, realizing that he had lost not only his home, but also his marriage. The weight of his actions was finally catching up to him. I stood up, feeling a mix of emotions, but mostly relief. Goodbye, Jonathan. I deserve better, and I'm done with you and your lies. With that, I walked away, leaving him sitting there stunned and speechless. My parents, after giving him an earful of their own, followed me shortly after. It was time for me to start a new chapter in my life, one that didn't involve deceit and heartache. As I walked away from that restaurant, I felt a sense of empowerment and freedom. My parents were by my side, and I knew that I had their unwavering support. I was ready to move forward, knowing that I was strong enough to overcome anything. In the weeks that followed, I focused on healing and rebuilding my life. With the love and support of my parents and the strength I found within myself, I knew I would be okay. After the restaurant incident, Jonathan tried reaching out to me, but I wouldn't budge. I had made up my mind and was done with his lies and deceit. He even tried to get his lawyers involved to regain ownership of the house, but it was no use. He signed it over willingly, and there was no foul play involved, so he couldn't get it back. He threatened to sue and make all sorts of crazy demands, but deep down he knew he had lost, and there was no point in arguing anymore. He had to face the consequences of his actions. Meanwhile, I was thriving. My parents, Erica and Andrew, stood by my side, offering love and support that I had never experienced before. We were a united front, and I felt stronger than ever knowing that they were there for me. In our newly owned house, I decorated every corner with pictures of us, my parents and me, embracing the love and happiness we shared. I made sure to post pictures of our new life on social media, rubbing a little salt in the wound for Jonathan to see. I wanted him to know that I was doing just fine without him, and it felt good to see him scowling and frowning in the background. As time went on, I found solace in my passion for poetry. I threw myself into my work, creating beautiful poems that brought me joy and a sense of accomplishment. My career flourished, and I was receiving recognition for my talent. My parents were so proud of me, and their love and encouragement only fueled my determination to succeed. With the support of my parents and my flourishing career, I found happiness and fulfillment. I realized that I didn't need Jonathan or his lies to define my worth. I had everything I needed right there with my parents, who loved me unconditionally. Life was good, and I was grateful for the lessons I learned from that difficult experience. I learned to stand up for myself and never settle for less than I deserved. I learned to trust my instincts and listen to my intuition. And as time went on, I found love again. I met someone who appreciated me for who I was and treated me with the love and respect I deserved. Together, we built a loving and supportive relationship, and I couldn't be happier. My parents were thriving too. Their bond with me grew stronger, and they found joy in seeing me happy and successful. They also pursued their own interests and passions, living their best lives as well. Looking back, I realized that Jonathan's greed and deceit had cost him more than he could have imagined. He lost not only his home and his money, but also the love and support of a family that he so desperately wanted. It was all his fault, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction knowing that I had gotten my revenge in a way that didn't involve stooping to his level. Life was full of surprises, and I was grateful for the love and support I had from my parents. With them by my side, I knew I could conquer anything that came my way. I was no longer defined by the pain of my past, but rather by the strength and resilience I had gained from it. As I continued to thrive in my career, my relationships, and my life, I knew that I was living proof that sometimes the best revenge is simply moving on and living your best life. And that's exactly what I was doing, living my best life, free from the chains of a toxic relationship and surrounded by love and happiness.